tell us what Tellor is. What does Tellor do exactly?
Sure. So we are a blockchain oracle. So we're built on top of Ethereum. So some of you guys probably have heard of like smart contracts, which are on Ethereum. And the problem with smart contracts is they actually can't read outside data. So if you know, like the traditional web, you can just call an API and ask it a question like, what's the weather today? What's the price of Bitcoin? What's the price of the S&P 500? Well, smart contracts actually can't do that. Everything has to be sort of self-contained within Ethereum and placed there by a user. So the question is like, well, how do you access this off-chain information? And that's what Tellor does. Mm-hmm. So like an example of like what we would do would be like, let's say you and I wanted to enter a contract where we bet on the price of Bitcoin. So we can both block our tokens into a smart contract. And then in a week, if the price of Bitcoin goes up, you get all the money. And if the price of Bitcoin goes down, I get all the money. Okay. Now you just need a way for the smart contract to be able to see what the price of Bitcoin is. Right. And that's the problem though, because whoever gets to say what the price of Bitcoin is obviously decides who wins the bet. Yeah. So, you can, obviously this is a problem even in the real world. It's called like a settlement price for a financial contract. And you can rely on like JP Morgan or, the CME or a trusted authority. But, this is blockchain world. We don't really want to do that. You don't want to have this central party that can sort of decide who wins or loses. We're all about removing middlemen. And that's where Tellor comes in place. So what we do is we have a network of people. So basically all of we call them reporters. Anybody can go and become a reporter.
Okay, these can be anybody.
Yeah, anybody can do it. You stake some tokens. Right now it's like $5,000 worth of tokens. And then you get to say what the price of Bitcoin is. You enter it into the Tellor smart contract, and then everybody else is watching you. If you lie about it, people point it out, and then it goes to a vote, and you can lose those $5,000. So you're incentivized to be honest. Right. Our derivatives contract, so back to the Bitcoin betting contract, we look at the Tellor contract. Somebody placed the price of Bitcoin on chain. Nobody disputed them and said they were wrong. So now we can use it in a decentralized way. And that's how we got the price of Bitcoin. We know that it's sort of honest.
Okay, nice. And if the person that is disputing the claim, what if they dispute the claim negatively on purpose? Like what if they lie about the price?
So they have to pay a fee. So they pay a small fee and that goes to the miner. So or to the reporter. So if the reporter was like unjustly accused, he gets a small fee for his troubles being falsely accused. Nice. Okay. Yeah.
That's some good game theory. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And that's what kind of like the whole thing is built on. It's just, as long as you have people participating and trying to get these rewards, it works. And that's what we're seeing working. Of course, we've never had an attack. So we've been live for 2 years now. We launched in 2019. Yeah. But we haven't had any attacks. We've had 78 sort of disputes that have happened. Okay. That come up, and they always come in chunks. And what always happens is like somebody has software that goes rogue, unfortunately. And like, they'll just start submitting zeros for the price of Bitcoin or something because they wrote bad code, and it happens. But, we've been placing data on chain every 5 minutes for the past 2 years. Okay. So 78 times isn't that bad.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's 99.9% right.
Accurate, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do specifically at Tellor? And why did you and your partners decide to start the company?
Yeah, so I'm the CTO and one of the co-founders. So I do development of the smart contracts and a lot of that reporter software. So we actually started, Tellor kind of fell into our laps. So 4 years ago now, in 2015, 2016, and part of 2017, I was working at the CFTC, so down in DC. And the CFTC regulates derivatives, but they also regulate cryptocurrencies. And I was lucky enough, I had already been in crypto by then. And I got put on the blockchain working group there. So I was in the government talking with them about how to sort of regulate cryptocurrencies. And I saw everyone coming in. And if you remember back in like 2017, people were always talking, 2016, people were saying like, oh, it's the blockchain, not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
People were saying it was going to be, we were going to put all financial contracts on a blockchain. And I said, no, like, it's going to be actually decentralized. It's not just going to be, the decentralization is where the value's at. So I left and I went to start a derivatives company first. So in 2017, I tried to start the Decentralized Derivatives Association, where I was going to try and do derivatives on top of Ethereum. Luckily, I got an Ethereum Foundation grant in early 2018. And then I brought on my co-founders, Brenda and Mike. And basically the derivatives contracts, like you can think of like a futures and options contract, where you're basically betting on the price of these assets. And whenever we started building these, we realized, oh man, there are no oracles in the space. Yeah, like this was back then, nobody really had a good oracle. So we were like, why don't we try and make a good oracle for our derivatives contracts? And whenever we came up with our oracle concept, we liked that as a company idea more than the derivatives idea. Because people, showed interest in having it. So then we launched Tellor, like in August of 2019, and that's where we've been kind of running since.
Okay, nice. So you did that because you needed to get more accurate information.
It was just we were one of our users, I guess you could say, at first, when we were building it for ourselves, and then Tellor kind of came out of necessity because everyone was just using centralized oracles at the time. And it was like, we saw kind of the danger of that.
Yeah, the best businesses are the ones where you give people what they need, not necessarily what they want all the time. So it's good that it came out of necessity.